Well, it's now up to Public Enterprises Minister Malusi Gigaba to say what action will be taken after the announcement that the Medupi power station will only come online in the latter half of next year. The postponement has inflated the cost of the project by 14 billion rand. Chris Yelland, energy sector analyst for EE Publishers, joins us now. Chris, thank you very much for coming in. Was December this year ever an achievable deadline, or are we just being too hard on a team that literally had to build a monster that was going to supply our country with uninterrupted electricity?
I do think December was a date that was serious. You have to remember that it's already at the moment 18 months late, 2.5 years late. And this is a further extension of time for another 6 months, which will bring the project to 3 years late. So it really should have been in place before now. That is the first unit coming on stream at the end of December. So I think it was a realistic date, and it was a serious date, but I think realities have caught up with matters.
Chris, Eskom is talking about the middle of next year as the date for when this first phase will come online. Are we to assume that it'll immediately run at 100% power, completely safely, straight after switch on?
No, definitely not. What Eskom have said so far is that the first unit will come on stream in the second half of 2014. Well, that is anywhere between July and December 2014. And after that follows a series of tests. So the first thing that happens is the generator gets synchronized to the grid. That's what we call first power to the grid. Then it's got to ramp up to full load, and as one ramps up to full load, so problems may be experienced as conveyors start loading up, as the boilers start performing their function, and these problems have to be attended to. But even once it reaches full load, there follows a period of typically 6 months, during which extensive testing takes place before the unit is handed over to the power station management for stable commercial power. So one can expect during that 6-month period that power might be up and down, on and off while they do these tests. And only after a period of about 6 months can one assume that power is stable, and then it is handed over to the power station for commercial operation.
Well, you bring me to my next question. We know Eskom's already come under a lot of pressure with power supply this winter. Are we really, as consumers, to buy the fact that there will be no blackouts, even with this delay on the cards?
Well, I would say there's not a certainty of blackouts. But the longer one operates with a very tight situation between supply and demand, the greater the probability is that an unforeseen set of circumstances may occur where there's a sudden loss of supply. For example, a sudden cold front occurring on a Monday, causing a major uptick in demand, and at the same time, perhaps a trip out of a generator, Kahora Bassa overhead line tripping out. We don't get stable power from Kahora Bassa. It's on and off. And one can at any time have a generator trip out, for example, at Kuburg. And the longer one operates at this tight situation between supply and demand, the more the probability is that these unfortunate set of circumstances may arise where there's high demand and low supply, and then Eskom is in the position where it has to phone up municipalities and ask them to start shedding domestic load. And then we, as consumers, start experiencing these rolling blackouts.
Well, let's just have a look at what Medupi will be capable of doing once it comes online. So we're looking at the electricity supply there for hot showers, 1.6 million, 7 million fridges, 48 million TVs, and 107 million laptops and the like. I mean, it really is a massive piece of infrastructure. But of course, Eskom at this point is laying the blame at its suppliers' stores for this delay. Is that entirely fair?
Firstly, to contextualize the size of Medupi, if you look at a city like Johannesburg plus a city like Durban, we're talking about 5,000 megawatts, approximately the size of Medupi. So Medupi is supplying kind of loads the size of the combination of Durban and Johannesburg, complete with domestic and industrial customers embedded within that municipal infrastructure. So it's a very big demand.
just one last question. How much out of pocket are we actually going to be when we add not only the delays, but the process that's yet to take place with regards to getting it going?
Well, Eskom have announced an increase in the construction cost, this last announcement yesterday, of an extra 14 billion rand. That takes the price tag, the construction price tag of Medupi from 91 billion to 105 billion. But we should not forget that there's also needs to be added interest during construction, the finance costs. This is about 35 billion rands, and a further 10 billion rand for what is known as flue gas desulfurization plant. This is a pollution control measure to remove toxic gases from the gases that go up the chimney. In total, we're looking at a price tag of Medupi of 150 billion, which makes it one of the most expensive power stations, coal-fired power stations ever built in the world.
Well, it had better work when it comes online. Chris Yelland, thank you very much for your insight into that story.
News that moves. eNCA.com.